Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Parenting Boost with Funmi Odumade. I am glad to be here again today. Thank you to as many that have watched, or listened to my videos. Thank you for those that have subscribed. I'm really grateful. For those that haven't subscribed, please be encouraged to do so. And the Lord will bless you in Jesus' name. So this week and for the next 2-3 weeks, I'll be looking at how we can prepare our children for school. And the first one I will start with is how we can prepare them for primary school. And I'm going to do this in two parts, and maybe next week I'll come up with how we can prepare those that are going to high school. So for those of us in England, the compulsories, or will I say statutory, school age where you're expected for your children to start school is 4, at the age of 4, and we call it a reception class where they still have the opportunity to learn under the early years foundation stage of the curriculum, of the primary school curriculum. For I know for people in Scotland, their reception class is called primary one. And I think the age for that class as well is between 4 and 5. So most children in reception or primary one, as the case may be, are between the age of 4 and 5. And that's if you're living in UK, but I don't know that some of us live outside UK. So depending on what age it is for children to start school, wherever we are. So I'll be looking at how we can actually prepare our reception or primary one, as the case may be in Scotland, how we can prepare them for school. And I'm going to look at it. The first part that I'm doing now will be based on how we can prepare them in terms of their emotion, in terms of their social skills. And then I will be coming, in the second part to discuss how we can prepare them, or give them a good head start academically. By God's grace, I've seen 3 children through starting school. So I think the first thing we can do is to help them to look forward to school. And how can we do that? It's by talking to them about the school, be enthusiastic with it as a parent, share with them those things they're going to learn from the school, the resources that are available. And we can read a book to them, about people that are starting school and what is expected, and let them know that they're not going to be big boys and big girls, and be away from home, because I know even if they have been in nursery, they will only have been doing probably 15 hours, unless if they are in private nursery, maybe because the parents are working full time. But if that is not the case, then they probably will have been doing just 15 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, 2.5 days a week for some schools, and some schools is just 3 hours or so every day from Monday to Friday. So, but now they're going to a reception class where they are expected to be in school maybe 10 minutes to 9 or 9 o'clock and finish 3 o'clock. So it's a huge change for them. So we need to prepare them by helping them to look forward to the school. So by talking about the school, another thing I think we can do is to visit the classroom. And I don't know if that is possible now because of COVID, but I remember when mine were, preparing to go into primary school. There was a day where we have to take them to school. I think it was even 2 days. We have to take them there and we stay with them. And at some point, they asked us to bring them, and they stayed, and we went to go and take them back home, pick them up. So, but I'm not sure whether COVID will allow schools to do that. And that's more reason why parents at this time should be proactive and should be looking at how they can actually prepare their children for school, because some of the support that were there, prior to COVID might probably not be there anymore. So we need to step in, and do those things for our children. So we can actually visit the classroom, and if it's not possible physically, if it's an online thing where there's a Zoom or there's a Teams meeting, let's engage our children with it, and let's allow them to have the opportunity to see the school. We can teach them to follow simple instructions, and that's one thing about, starting reception, or even if they are starting nursery, maybe they're 3 year old starting nursery, reception. We can teach them to follow a simple instruction, such as maybe, can you please tidy up your toys? Because those are the things that they will be expected in the reception. The teachers, there will be a time for tidy up time. The teachers will expect them to engage, to, listen to all those simple instructions. Bring your book, can you sit down? And if we have not been doing more of this at home, we still have 6, 7 weeks, I think, or 8 weeks before they start reception. We can start introducing that into their daily routine, giving them simple instruction. Can you bring your shoe? Can you put on your shoe? All that can help them. Can you pick up your toys? While it's good for us to make sure our home is tidy and we do it for them, it's good to give our children independent skills, and that's kind of like give them the confidence that they need when they get to school. Because the last thing you want to happen is for them, the teachers, to be calling you every time to come and pick your children up, or because they are crying and and cannot be controlled and all that. You want to have a peace of mind when they go. You want to drop them at 9 and pick them at 3, or as the case, 3:15 or whatever as the case may be. So we can encourage them to communicate in their need in simple sentences. I struggle with it as first myself, when your children want something and they will just be crying and be pointing, and they expect you to kind of like understand what they need. And it takes me time to actually sit down and actually look at it and think, if you need something, I'll say, okay, calm down. Can you tell me what you want? Mom, can I have this? Please. And that's, we need to teach them, we need to encourage them to be able to express themselves, to be able to communicate their needs, to others, to be able to communicate their needs to others. So for instance, if the teachers is sharing something and they haven't received their own yet, instead of them sitting down there and crying, they can say, Miss or Mrs., so please, can I have, please, I haven't had mine, please. Just simple sentence that will actually tell others what their feelings are, what they need at a particular time. And we can start from the home as well. We can start not anticipating their needs, not thinking for them and thinking because she's crying or before he's crying, this is what he or she needs. But we can actually ask them to speak out, and if they don't have the right words to communicate, and if we have an idea of what they need, we can say those words to them and say, tell mommy, okay, say to mommy, can I have apple, please? So that they can learn and have the confidence to be able to tell others about their needs. Another thing is, it would be good for them to know how to dress and undress themselves. I don't think, for most classes in England and in Wales, you have like 30 children in the class, and you have a teacher and probably a teaching assistant. And with even all this restriction around, I'm not sure if any teaching assistant, because I know most time the teacher won't have that much time to be helping our children to dress and undress, especially when they go to toilet or when they are having PE, and they need to change their clothes. So we as parents need to start teaching them all this. If you are that kind of parent where you just do everything, like you don't really want to stress at all, you just do everything, I think it's high time we sit down and start teaching them how to do all this, so that they can have, because we're not going to be there in the school to do this with them, and there won't be enough support, in school, if they don't have all these basic skills. And I do understand that, we do have children that have special education and needs, and those such child will probably have the right support for them. So we can teach them how to kind of like put on their shoes, And while we are buying shoes as well, we should buy shoes that will be easy for them to just step in and come out, maybe like a Velcro shoes that they can just, wear themselves. There won't be need of tying laces because that can cause hazard as well. When they have to tie laces and the laces are loose, and that they can slip and fall and all that. So we need to kind of like look carefully into the type of shoes we buy for them. So we can look at the coat, can they wear their coat and zip up? If they can't do that, yes, you still have plenty time to be able to encourage them to do that themselves, because they will have to do that. There'll be time they have to go out of the classroom, and the teacher will say, carry your clothes, put it on. They should be able to do that by themselves. And we have to be conscious of those things we buy as well, the coat we buy. Is it practicable for my children? Will my child be able to do that easily without the support of the teacher? It's very important. And I will stress this: please and please and please label their belongings. Especially if you have, a school jumper or school sweats, suit, or whatever they wear in the school that have label. They're quite expensive, and the last thing you want to happen is to be going to, ringing the school and asking the school to help you to look for your child's jumper. So please, let's label their belongings, label everything. Actually, if possible, you can label their underwear, just in case when they are changing for PE, they mistakenly put. So let's label their stuffs. You can buy the one that is like, you can use iron. They can print it for you. They use iron. They're online on eBay. Some schools where you get the uniform, you can get that as well. Please label all their belongings so that that saves a lot of hassle. Um, Another one I want to talk about is, eating themselves. Our children should be able to eat themselves by the time they go into reception. So if you're a parent that is still feeding them just because we don't want to stress ourselves, I will say stop now and start introducing them to eating themselves. It's very important. They only have couple of some minutes for lunch. Before lunch, I mean eating their food before they go out. And I do know that for children in England and Wales from reception to year 2, I think they're entitled to free meals, from the school. I'm not sure. Some schools have returned to giving them meals in school. Some schools are still asking them just to bring packed lunch because of COVID. And if you are someone that maybe your children are entitled to free meals, I think they providing sandwich, or packed lunch in the school as well, depending on what the school your child is going and doing at this point in time. But really, I don't think there's anyone that have the time to sit down and be making sure your child have enough to eat. And one of the things parents stress with is when they come back home, if they spark lunch and they hardly touch anything, and you're wondering, so you haven't eaten anything, So we need to teach them or encourage them to heat themselves. Encourage them to heat themselves is very, very important. And I think one of the things I've seen as well, when children have too much to eat, they get confused. So we really don't need to pack, if they're going with packed lunch, you really don't need to pack their lunch box with much stuff, to be honest, because they just get overwhelmed. So we should pack much as we think they will be able to handle, and we help them to be able to kind of like know how to, when sometimes when you have a drink that you have with them, maybe Capri Sun or anything, encourage them to kind of like open all this themselves. If it's the one with a straw, they can poke in and put the straw in themselves. Let's encourage them. Let's use this few weeks that we have before they start school to encourage all that, to be able to use knife and fork. That was a struggle for mine, because we hardly use knife and fork at home to eat before they start school. It's not you use fork or you use spoon, or you don't use both together as an African. Right. Anyway, they learned that in school, and now we do it, at home as well when we are having some, like for instance, having an English breakfast or all that. Use your knife and fork, and so. But yeah, let's teach them to be able to do all this. Let's encourage them to engage in all this before they go to school. Last point I'm going to talk about, you know, for this part one of preparing your child for school uh, is we need to encourage them to share with others. It's important, for us to, it's kind of like help their social engagement, if I put it that way, to be able to, it helps them to be able to manage their emotions and all that in school. Should help them to encourage them to share with others, share their toys, take turn, if I think it's everyone or every parent that have been probably been in this situation where you're trying to serve or in the family and your toddler is making noise and trying to say mom 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 I want it now I want it now I want it now, and actually you're doing something at that particular time that you can't just switch and give them whatever they want. And for me, that is an opportunity to teach them to be calm and wait for their turn, wait for their time to attend to them, because they're going to learn all this, in school. And there will be some certain expectation for them to be able to do this when they are in reception, particularly. So we need to kind of like encourage them to take turns, because that particular toy in the reception class, there won't be enough to go around for everybody. So there might be some toys that they will be rationing, like the time people will spend there, and also some set of people can go in, maybe like dressing up kids or maybe like a puzzle. So there won't be enough of each toy in the classroom to go around for everyone. So our children need to learn to take turn, and we start from home. It is not all the time that they, especially when they have an older ones, sometimes we just say, give it to him now, give it to her. Why? Why must they give it to him or her? If that is not if it's not their turn to have it, why can't they wait? Why can't we use the opportunity to teach them to wait, and to take turns and to share with others? And what I found very, good for mine when they were much younger, to teach them to take turns is, when we have like a family time where you have the opportunity to play with a puzzle. Sometimes when you're playing with puzzles, everybody have their own, or with jigsaws or anything like that, you have your own. You can say, okay, you put the next shape, I put the next shape, things like that, to encourage them to take turn. Or you're playing with dominoes, a lot of family board games that can encourage taking turns, sharing toys, and even if they're the only child, and that's where the parents can step in. We can, you know, take, play with them and teach them all this, the way we relate with them as well. So it's very important, and I do like, family time. I don't like board games because I think it helps them to concentrate as well. There is a level of concentration that is needed for each year, each age group, for our children to learn. If reception, they will expect them to be able to sit still, at least to listen to a 5 minute story, book. There will be expectation for them to be able to sit still, or even to at least to get instruction of what next to do from the teachers. There will be time where everybody will come and sit on the floor and the teacher will give instruction. So there's expectation for our children to sit, to be able to concentrate and listen to those instructions, so that they can know what they will do and be able to thrive in the school. And I think, one thing I think we can do as parents in that regard is there should be some time in their routine where they sit without being on the gadget. To be honest, gadgets have a way of controlling our children to sit still. But the truth is they're not going to be in front of gadgets or smart board or iPad or phone in school. They are not. And if they struggle to sit still for few minutes in a day, at home, they'll probably struggle in school as well. But we've got a couple of weeks to be able to put all this in place and and support them. So while we are preparing for holiday, for places to go, which I think going on holiday and everything like that, some of these things, if we have it at the back of our mind, we can introduce it on our holiday where we go on holiday. But at the same time, we should make sure that we spend the 6 weeks holiday, preparing them for the next phase, because it's a very interesting one, but it will be good if it's well managed and well prepared for. Thank you for listening to this video. I hope you've learned one or two things. If you have any comments, please put it in the comment box. If you have any questions, please feel free to do so. And I'll be coming in the part 2 to share with us how we can prepare them academically, or we can give them a head start in the academics. God bless you. Have a lovely week. Bye.